Hi Flosstube, I'm Tony, and this is the corner of creative and you. And it's been a long time since I made a Flosstube video, so I thought I would come on and show you what I'm stitching on. So my last video was Stitch Mania last year, so it's been quite a while since I've made a stitching video. So you can find me on all the social medias under Tony Spy Writer, and that is on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And so a little about me, since it's been so long. My name is Tony. I'm a graphic artist. I work at a daily newspaper, designing ads, sending down plates for the newspaper. And back in 2005, I had just finished working at a job in St. Louis where I was a graphic designer for the Riverfront Times. So right now I'm just designing at my hometown newspaper in Southern Illinois. And like one of the other Flosstubers I just watched said that this is an LNS wasteland. There's not really a lot of LNSs around here. So I get all my stuff online, 123 Stitch, and the cottage needle and needle case goodies. That's where I usually get a lot of my cross stitch patterns. I started making videos back in 2014, back when I just started getting the bug again, the creative bug. And I've made videos here and there, but not really very consistent at it. So let's get into the stitching, the WIPs. This this is On the Beach, a Janlin kit. And I did this as part of my Magical Stitches homework. I'm in the Slytherin group. I was originally in the Hufflepuff group, but there was some kind of mass exodus. I don't know the whole story, and they asked if some people from other groups would be in Slytherin, so I said I would do it. So on Pottermore, I'm a Gryffindor. And when I first was put in Magical Stitches, I was Hufflepuff, and now I'm a Slytherin. They need to have like things you can get to show you how many houses you really are, like a little Pandora bracelet or something with little charms. So I worked on this a lot more since I finished my homework. I think I did this side of this for the homework. It was about the prompt was something like, something that you smell, that when you look at this thing, what is it that you smell? And I smelled the smell of the beach, and being at the beach and stuff. So this was my homework for that. That one's been a little hard for me to get through. I've had that going for a few years. It's about what it will look like when it's done. Oh, what is that? Then there was one thing where you had to do silver stitches, or silver or gray stitches, and I started this one. This is a new start. It's Quicker to Halloween by Jardin Privé. So I started that one. Not very many stitches done. There's just the gray stitches. I think I did 318 because it's not really called for as gray in this pattern, so I decided to do some parts of it in gray. My next thing I did for Magical Stitches was Shades of Canada by Northern Expressions Needlework. Yeah. I don't remember what the prompt was. I had been really good at, this was my year of WIP, my year of WOW this year, which was about my year of WIPs, trying to work on my WIPs. So I haven't really had that one start. That's the only start I've had this year. So I did the outline around this whole thing. I did this motif here, and then the beginning of the outline here around the edge. And that was 2 different prompts because we were only doing 200 stitches at a time. This was my I'm scared of it, kind of thing. The thing that bothered me was because I always thought about Northern Expressions needlework as something that's really difficult, and I haven't really come across any specialty stitches yet, but there are beads in this project, so got to get used to that. So that's Shades of Canada. Another project I worked on was the fall seasons in chalk fall. This is the hands-on design that Priscilla Blaine thing that was in Just Cross Stitch magazine. It'll say fall up here. This is how far I am. This is slate? No, dawn. I picture this plus. I have a little bit of trouble with this fabric, is it's very, the holes are very filled in, so it's hard to see where to stitch. I don't really have a problem stitching on blacks or any dark fabrics, so sometimes it's whether I can see through the fabric. So this is, I think I did a lot of this here, and I know I did this part. So this is more stitching. So this week our homework is about 4 different things. If you're trying out for the Quidditch, your parts on Quidditch, like Seeker and Blood. I can't think of all the positions. So I've picked out 2 projects to work on, and I'm going to do 2 different prompts for each one of these. And one of them is, this is Primrose by Lenart. It's a Alfonso Mucha pattern. Since I'm a graphic artist, we had to take graphic design history, and this was one of the things I really loved was Alfonso Mucha. So I'm doing this one for two of the prompts, and this is one of the ones I don't really work on a lot. Here's where I am. This was one of the first big kits I ever bought myself back in the day, back before Flosstube. When I first started Flosstube back in 2014, there was only 2 people doing cross-stitch videos, and it was Stitching May, and there was a girl named Jules Forever. She was also kind of like a paranormal investigator kind of person who really liked going into the paranormal stuff, so she did both those things on her channel. And so those were the 2 big stitchers back when I was, first starting. And then I found the cross stitch groups on Facebook because there was only a couple, and there was Cross Stitch It's Fun, and then that lady started her own, I don't remember what her name was. She started her own cross stitch group, and then she asked people to make their own videos, and this is how kind of Flosstube started, where people started to make their own videos, and it kind of exploded right around that time. Maybe a year after I first started, it kind of exploded. My not really sure how many years that was, 2014, and I started making my first video probably in February of 2014, I think. So I think I just showed like 3 projects I was working on. So my next one I'm going to be working on is Bubbles by Imaginating, but it's Ursula Michael. I think I actually used this for another Magical Stitches thing. Either that or I did it as part of Stitch Mania, I don't remember. And that's about how far I am. Woo, can't see. And so this one's about the rings. So I'm going to do all the major, like there was a 500 stitches and then 400 stitches. And then the last 2 prompts are 200 stitches. So this one I'm going to do the 500 and 400. And then the primrose I'm doing the last 200 stitches. That's all my WIPs and my future plans. I hadn't been stitching. In May, I kind of got overwhelmed by the whole the whole Magical Stitches, because sometimes you're trying to do all the things, you know. And I kind of got burnt out. So I've been away from stitching since May. I've done it here and there, and I just started really getting back into it again. And I started working on the prompts this last week, and I'm back into it. So it's been since September that I've kind of fell off the Stitchy bandwagon, but now I'm back. I also do a lot of book blogging. I have a blog called Beauty Sleuth Book Diva. I called it Beauty Sleuth because it was back in 2014 when I started this book blog. I was really into makeup and I rediscovered it and kind of fell off that bandwagon too, because you know there's only so many things you can buy before you get overwhelmed. And so I do reviews for NetGalley, and I discovered a lot of great series by working through NetGalley. And so this year I made it a refocusing to read more. So I have read, as of yesterday, I've read 287, I think, books. And you can go to my blog and look at all the different books I've read. It's beautysleuthbookdiva.blogspot.com. And I post all my videos, all my reviews over there. And I also post them on Goodreads, and if you go to that blog, you can follow me on Goodreads. And the last 3 months have been, well, this month, and next month, there have been like a plethora of different books coming out. And so I've been overwhelmed with all the books. So I've been trying to stitch while I'm listening to my Kindle read the book to me. And so that's about it for me. If you wonder about my name's Tony Spywriter, it's because back in the day I was a fiction writer, and I wrote books I wrote an online web serial called The Legacy. And as you do when you start websites, back when the internet first started, I started this thing in 1998, and websites closed down, like GeoCities closed down, and I had to find a new place to put my blog, and I ended up putting it on Blogspot. And so when you sign up, you have to come up with a username. And because my series The Legacy is about spies, and I was a writer, and my name's Tony, so it's Tony Spywriter. and that's how my name came around. So that's also what my YouTube channel is named, because you had to get a Gmail account to have Blogger. So my YouTube is under Tony Spy Writer also. So if you find me, you can search Tony Spy Writer everywhere, YouTube, and Instagram, and Twitter, and Facebook. I'm everywhere on the social medias as that, and that's about all I gotta say right now. I hope good to be back. Hope you all have a wonderful stitchy week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.